I watched all 236 Friends episodes and I wrote down every good deed and bad deed each of the 6 friends did. Here is the ranking. I tried to be the most unbiased possible, but I'm not an almighty judge. Before we start, I wanted to say that I started this 10 years ago and probably 15 years old me wasn't as harsh as now me. So maybe I wrote down less in the first season than now, but I still agree with what I did back then. And also I don't know why I didn't do 1.2 points and 3 points, but 1/4 of point, 1/2 a point and 1 point, but I did, so anyway. So let's start. Who of Ross, Phoebe, Jenna, Monica, Rachel, or Joy is the best friend? Put your guess in the comments, let's start. Season 1, Episode 1, Monica gets a point for welcoming Rachel in her home even if she wasn't invited to her wedding, and another point for welcoming her into her groups of friends, and Joy, Ross and Phoebe also get a point for welcoming her in their group. Season 1, Episode 3, Phoebe gets a point for giving $1,000 to a homeless person and half a point for giving Chandler $7,000 to stop smoking. And Phoebe took the lead. Season 1, Episode 4, Monica, Phoebe, Joey, Chandler and Ross get half a point for tipping Rachel because Fika got all her money. Rachel gets half a point because she wrote a Valentine to Monica, even if she was kinda mean and lying about it. For who Rachel was back then is pretty good. Monica loses half a point for cooking something non-vegetarian to Phoebe, and Phoebe also loses half a point for sleeping with one of Monica's exes just hours after they broke up. Season 1, Episode 5, Monica gets half a point for helping Joy get back together with Angela, but she loses half a point for breaking up a couple. Joy also loses this half a point. Phoebe gets half a point for helping Chandler break up with Janice, and Ross gets half a point for helping Rachel at the laundromat. Season 1, Episode 7, Ross loses half a point for being mean to Paolo. I get it, you're jealous, and in the end he's a bad guy, but still. Season 1, Episode 9, Monica, Phoebe, Ross, Joey and Chandler all get a point for chipping in to give Rachel her ski trip. Monica gets another point for cooking 3 different potatoes without even complaining, and the other 5 lose a point for blaming Monica for everything and not even thanking her for cooking for everyone. Not cool, guys. And Monica took the lead. Season 1, Episode 10, Phoebe gets half a point for letting David go to Minsk. Joey gets half a point for kissing Chandler at New Year. Season 1, Episode 11, Ross loses half a point for kissing Chandler's mom. Season 1, Episode 12, Ross loses another half point because he said that Monica's meat lasagnas were vegetarian to Carol. Season 1, Episode 14, Ross gets half a point for inviting Carol at his table on Valentine's Day. Season 1, Episode 15, Joy gets half a point for helping Ross talk dirty.
$10 an hour. Nope. $12 an hour. Come on, I wish I could, but I've made plans to walk around.
Season 1, Episode 16, Ross loses half a point because he can't stand that Carol is a lesbian. Season 1, Episode 17, Monica gets a point for letting Rachel use her insurance. Phoebe gets half a point for dressing up as Ursula to break up with Joey to not hurt him. Joey gets a point for choosing Phoebe, his friend, over Ursula. Season 1, Episode 18, Ross gets a point for letting Rachel win.
And Monica, get my purse. Rachel, there's nothing in it. Okay.
Season 1, Episode 19, Phoebe gets a point for getting shot instead of Marcel.
Well, then how about I call your supervisor and I tell her that you shot my friend in the ass with a dart?
Okay, we'll start with the building. You guys take the 1st and 2nd floor, Phoebe and I'll take 3rd and 4th.
Season 1, Episode 20, Rachel loses a point for sleeping with Barry while he was with Mindy. Season 1, Episode 22, Chandler gets half a point for hiring Phoebe as his assistant. Season 1, Episode 23, Joy gets half a point for helping a stranger give birth. Chandler gets half a point for reassuring Monica. Season 1, Episode 22, Chandler gets a point for lending Joy money. Season 2, Episode 1, Rachel loses half a point because she lies about the haircut Julie wants to Phoebe.
Guys, you got new haircuts.
Yes, we did, thanks to Vidal Buffet.
And Phoebe took the lead. Season 2, Episode 3, Chandler loses half a point for breaking up with girls for no reason. Ross loses half a point for not being open-minded. He can't stand the fact that others have other opinions than him. He always wants to be right. Season 2, Episode 5, Monica, Chandler and Ross get half a point for buying tickets for the other three who don't have any money. Even if at the end it made them feel this big, it was still a nice gesture. But Chandler loses that half a point for pretending to be someone else, Bob. Season 2, Episode 6, Joey and Chandler lose half a point for losing Ben on a bus.
Let me just see what else I can do.
I'm Dr. Carlin. Oh, I see someone's having a little allergic reaction.
Oh, hey, Mom.
Season 2, Episode 7, Monica gets half a point for volunteering to help Chandler lose weight. Chandler loses half a point for being mean to Monica when all she wanted to do was help him. Ross loses half a point because he kisses Rachel even though he's still with Julie. Season 2, Episode 8, Ross loses a point for having made a list to choose between Rachel and Julie. Yes, it was Chandler's idea, but Ross didn't have to go through with it. Season 2, Episode 11, Ross gets a point for telling Cara to marry Susan and walking her down the aisle. That really was a selfless good deed. Season 2, Episode 13, Rachel loses half a point for dating Jean-Claude Van Damme. Even though she knew that Monica liked him, Monica loses half a point for behaving like a baby with Rachel and Van Damme. Season 2, Episode 14, Ross gets half a point for lending Monica money.
Wow, I don't know what to say. If I want to call for a reference on your last job.
Oh, that's there on the bottom. See the manager, Chandler Bing.
Actually, be cool. Just be cool. I was saving you.
Save me from the pleasant conversation with the interesting man.
Season 2, Episode 15, Joy gets half a point for buying the entertainment center. Season 2, Episode 17, Ross loses a point for being a jerk to Monica. Yes, a whole point because he was at her place and he acted as if he was at his place. He really got on my nerves. Season 2, Episode 19, Rachel gets half a point for offering cake to make things good again between the girls. Ross gets half a point for buying the white dog to Joey. Season 2, Episode 23, Joy loses half a point for Joseph, the jerk of Chandler's office. Chandler gets half a point for hiring Joey in his company. Season 2, Episode 24, Monica gets half a point for breaking up with Richard because he didn't want the same thing, even though he offered it to her and she loved him. Phoebe and Ross get half a point for kissing Joey to help him get his role. Season 3, Episode 1, Joey gets half a point for spending the whole day with Janice for Chandler. Season 3, Episode 2, Joey and Chandler lose half a point for behaving like babies when they needed to go to Ross's thing. Season 3, Episode 4, Phoebe gets half a point for being Joey's agent without getting paid, and Phoebe took the lead. Ross loses half a point for refusing that Ben plays with a Barbie. Season 3, Episode 5, Joey gets half a point for redoing Monica's bathroom floor for free. Complicated to say, floor for free. Okay. Season 3, Episode 6, Chandler gets half a point for comforting Monica. Yes, it might be my mother heart speaking, but still, he earned this half a point. Season 3, Episode 7, Joey loses half a point for giving bad advice to one of his students. Season 3, Episode 8, Chandler gets half a point for breaking up with Janice, even though he still loved her. Season 3, Episode 9, Ross loses half a point for being a jerk to Rachel and a bit to Monica. Season 3, Episode 10, Monica and Joey get half a point for saving the old trees for Phoebe, and Monica took the lead. Ross also gets half a point for selling cookies for a little girl he injured. Joey, Chandler and Ross get half a point for organizing a space camp in apartment 19, even if in real life it would be weird. Joey and Chandler get another half a point for helping Rachel quit a job she didn't like. Season 3, Episode 11, Phoebe gets half a point for complaining to the guy about the noise, and Phoebe took the lead. Joey gets a point for defending Phoebe, and he was the one who had the idea. Ross and Chandler also get half a point for defending Phoebe, but they weren't the one who had the idea, so it's just half a point. Chandler loses half a point for sleeping with one of Joey's sisters. Ross loses a point for the whole Mark jealousy thing. Season 3, Episode 14, Phoebe gets half a point for giving Smelly Cat to Leslie. Season 3, Episode 15, Ross loses half a point for cheating on Rachel. Maybe he should have lost a whole point, but I only put a half a point. And looking back on it, maybe it should have been a whole point, but anyways.
What do you mean to do? Just sit here silently while the three of you have a conversation?
That would be great. Thank you.
Season 3, Episode 16, Joey and Chandler get half a point for showing up with pants when the girls were yelling. Season 3, Episode 17, Monica, Phoebe and Joey get half a point for offering to stay. Phoebe gets another half a point for being the first one to propose to stay, and another 2 half points for taking off her bra and stopping all the fighting. Ross gets half a point for picking them up. Season 3, episode 18, Rachel finally gets half a point for helping Chandler quit smoking. Phoebe loses half a point for breaking up Frank and Alice. Season 3, episode 21, Ross gets a point for taking Rachel to the hospital even though he was going to be on TV.
Would it be okay with you if I set Ross up on a date?
Season 3, episode 25, Rachel loses half a point for telling Bonnie to shave her head. Ross loses half a point for cheating on Bonnie with Rachel. Season 4, episode 1, Joey gets half a point for proposing to pee on Monica, and Chandler gets half a point for peeing on Monica. Season 4, episode 4, Joey gets half a point for defending Rachel to Trigger. Season 4, episode 6, Chandler gets half a point for buying a nice gift to Kathy and letting Joey give it to her. Season 4, episode 7, Chandler loses half a point for kissing Kathy. Ross gets half a point for stopping to play the keyboard because it made Phoebe don't want to play. Season 4, episode 8, Joey gets half a point for letting Chandler chase Kathy, and Joey took the lead. Chandler gets half a point for staying in a box for Joey. Ross gets half a point for his first action as Joey's best friend, being to be friends with Chandler again. Season 4, episode 9, Monica gets half a point for taking all her friends out on a free dinner. Phoebe gets half a point for letting Monica take the chef job, and Phoebe took the lead. And Monica gets another half a point for Anna saying no to the chef job. Season 4, episode 10, Joey gets half a point for being hired to be fired, and Joey took the lead. Season 4, episode 11, Phoebe gets a point for accepting to be a surrogate for her brother, and Phoebe took the lead. Season 4, episode 14, Ross gets half a point for accepting to go out with Emily.
Look, why don't you do your phase 2 strip club thing with us?
Season 4, episode 16, Joey gets a point for stopping eating meat while Phoebe is pregnant. Season 4, episode 18, Monica gets half a point for cooking a whole dinner for Rachel and Joshua. Phoebe gets half a point for naming the baby Chandler. Season 4, episode 20, Rachel loses half a point for not doing the dishes. Season 4, episode 24, Rachel loses a point for going to London to stop Ross's wedding. Joey loses half a point for eating meat. Season 5, episode 2, Rachel, Monica, Joey, Chandler, and Ross get half a point for coming up with a plan to make Phoebe feel better.
Fingers, smudgy pictures. Oh my God!
Season 5, episode 3, Rachel gets half a point for trying to talk to Frank about Phoebe having one of his babies. Season 5, episode 8, Chandler loses half a point for calling Monica fat. Season 5, episode 9, Rachel loses half a point for taking Phoebe's answers. Monica gets half a point for making Ross a sandwich with her last leftovers. Phoebe loses a point because her revenge on Rachel was kinda mean. Joey gets a point for taking the blame for Monica and Chandler, plus for keeping their secret, and Joey took the lead. Season 5, episode 10, Monica gets half a point for giving Phoebe all of her cash.
My jacket, it looks really expensive.
Monica is now in second place. Ross gets half a point for helping Joey with his play. Joey gets half a point for helping Ross and Chandler not being mad at each other anymore. Season 5, episode 11, Joey gets half a point for organizing everything so that Monica and Chandler would kiss. Season 5, episode 15, Phoebe gets half a point for giving Ross's handyman $100. Season 5, episode 16, Phoebe gets half a point for using a police badge to make good deeds. Phoebe is now in second place. Season 5, episode 19, Rachel gets a point for talking to Caitlin for Ross. Season 5, episode 20, Rachel gets half a point for telling Ross about Emily's message. Season 5, episode 21, Monica loses a point for not keeping Gary's secret about wanting to move in with Phoebe. Season 5, episode 22, Chandler loses half a point for not believing in Joey's big break. Season 5, episode 24, Phoebe loses half a point for telling Chandler about Richard. Season 6, episode 1, Ross loses a point for staying married to Rachel. Season 6, episode 5, Rachel gets half a point for telling Ross the wedding was her idea. Monica and Chandler get half a point for taking care of the triplets with Phoebe. Season 6, episode 6, Rachel gets half a point for folding the catalog pages she thinks Monica will like, another half a point for lending her shoes to Monica, another half a point for leaving notes on the mirror. And Rachel is finding the positives. Joey gets half a point for giving the white dog to Chandler. Chandler gets a point for giving $1,500 to Joey when he moved out. Season 6, episode 9, Monica, Chandler, and Ross get a point for acting as if Rachel's trifle was good to not hurt her feelings. Monica is now in second place. Joey also gets half a point for loving the idea of the acting. Season 6, episode 11, Joey gets a point for dumping Janine because she didn't like Monica and Chandler. Chandler gets half a point for paying dinner for Joey. Season 6, episode 12, Rachel gets a point for talking to Gunther so that Joey has his job back. He gets a whole point because that's a huge thing coming from Rachel. Season 6, episode 14, Rachel gets half a point for accepting that Ross goes out with her sister Jill, and another half point for helping Jill in her life. Joey gets half a point for refusing to look at Phoebe's porn. Ross gets half a point for accepting to stop seeing Jill.
Joey, we know you steal our food.
Season Season 6, episode 18, Monica, Joey, and Chandler get half a point for welcoming Phoebe and Rachel when there was a fire. Monica gets half a point for being an excellent hostess. Come on, Phoebe and Rachel are ungrateful. Who doesn't want a plate of fresh baked cookies, even if we have to eat them on the sink? Chandler gets half a point for talking to his ex for Joey. Season 6, episode 22, Rachel gets half a point for hiding Ross and Elizabeth. Season 7, episode 2, Chandler gets half a point for being ready to put all his money in the wedding. Season 7, episode 6, Chandler loses half a point for breaking up with a girl because she was fat. Season 7, episode 9, Monica gets a point for making candy for all her neighbors. Ross gets a point for buying Phoebe a bike. Season 7, episode 13, Phoebe gets a point for saving a guy from suicide. Chandler gets half a point for replacing Rosita. Season 7, episode 14, Joy gets half a point for kissing Phoebe on her birthday. Season 7, episode 17, Monica gets half a point for giving her dress to a girl for Chandler to have the swing king. Season 7, episode 19, Monica gets half a point for making fake penises for Joy. Season 7, episode 20, Monica gets half a point for inviting Joy's parents. Season 7, episode 22, Monica gets half a point for letting everyone drive her Porsche. Season 7, episode 23, Chandler loses a point for almost leaving Monica on their wedding. Ross gets half a point for giving the older brother talk to Chandler. Season 8, episode 1, Phoebe gets a point for telling that she was pregnant. Chandler gets half a point for taking dance lessons. Ross gets half a point for dancing with the children. Season 8, episode 2, Joy gets 1 point for proposing to Rachel and Phoebe when he thought they were pregnant. Season 8, episode 4, Ross gets half a point for not wanting to watch the tape so that Rachel wouldn't be embarrassed. Season 8, episode 5, Monica gets half a point for rehiring Paul as a sous chef. Season 8, episode 6, Chandler gets half a point for letting Ross win. Season 8, episode 7, Monica gets half a point for getting Chandler a stripper. Season 8, episode 9, Ross loses half a point for co-founding the I Hate Rachel Club. Season 8, episode 10, Rachel gets half a point for helping Dina talk to Joey. Ross gets half a point for getting Phoebe's Sting ticket. Season 8, episode 11, Joey gets half a point for almost offering Rachel to have sex with him. Season 8, episode 12, Joey gets half a point for taking Rachel on a date. Season 8, episode 13, Monica loses half a point for telling Phoebe that Joey liked her even if it wasn't true. Season 8, episode 16, Joey gets half a point for caring about Ross's feelings. Ross gets half a point for letting Joey tell Rachel. Season 8, episode 17, Joey gets half a point for talking to Rachel's boss. Season 8, episode 19, Rachel, Monica, Phoebe, Chandler, and Ross get half a point for going to Central Perk and looking after Joey if he says anything bad during his interview. Season 8, episode 21, Ross gets half a point for buying all newspapers when Monica got a bad review. Ross gets half a point for accepting to not date anyone for Rachel. Season 8, episode 22, Chandler loses half a point for falling asleep at Joey's movie. Season 8, episode 23, Joey gets half a point for playing a doctor for Phoebe. Season 8, episode 24, Monica gets a point for giving the name Emma to Rachel. Season 9, episode 2, Monica gets half a point for staying to calm Emma. Season 9, episode 4, Monica gets half a point for buying shark porn. Ross gets half a point for helping Phoebe with Mike. Season 9, episode 5, Rachel, Monica, Chandler, and Ross lose half a point for arriving late at Phoebe's birthday dinner. Season 9, episode 6, Rachel gets a point for letting Ross fire Sandy because he was uncomfortable with him. Phoebe loses a point for cheating on Mike with David. Ross loses half a point because he was uncomfortable with Sandy just because he was a guy. Season 9, episode 7, Rachel and Monica get a point for taking Phoebe shopping. Ross loses half a point for blaming Rachel for I like big butts. Season 9, episode 8, Rachel gets half a point for welcoming Amy for Thanksgiving. Chandler gets half a point for defending Monica. Season 9, episode 9, Monica loses half a point for calling Joyce to be behind his back. Joy loses half a point because he thought Monica cheated, which means he doesn't trust his friends, but he gets half a point for telling Chandler immediately when he thought Monica was cheating. Chandler loses half a point for lying to Joy about being in Tulsa. Season 9, episode 10, Monica gets half a point for supporting Chandler when he quit his job. Season 9, episode 11, Joy gets half a point for giving Phoebe a bite of his muffin and a sip of his drink, even though Joy doesn't share food. He gets another half point for offering her a job as an extra on his show and for helping her in this show, but he loses half a point for getting Phoebe fired. Ross gets half a point for almost calling the labor department because Rachel told him they made her work, and he gets another half point for always being the one who changes Emma's diapers, and another half point for trying to stay when Chandler didn't want to tell Monica about not having cheated right away.
I have looked through a bunch of career guides, photocopied and highlighted key passages, and put them into alphabetical folders so you can make an informed decision.
Season 9, episode 12, Rachel loses half a point because she wasn't grateful for Monica's birthday party. Joey loses half a point for wanting to sleep with the nanny even though Ross asked him not to. Chandler gets half a point for looking after Joy when Ross asked him. Season 9, episode 13, Phoebe loses half a point for not telling Monica we could see through her shirt. Joy gets half a point for accepting Rachel to move back in with him in a heartbeat. Chandler gets half a point for doing Joy's eyebrows, and another half point for telling Monica immediately about her see-through shirt. Ross loses half a point for inviting a girl just to make Rachel jealous. Season 9, episode 14, Monica and Chandler get half a point for accepting to watch Emma. Monica loses half a point for wanting to have sex in front of a baby. Joy gets half a point for taking Emma when he heard Monica and Chandler have sex. Season 9, episode 15, Phoebe gets half a point for coming clean about being the one who mugged Ross. Season 9, episode 16, Rachel, Monica, Joy, Chandler, and Ross get half a point for helping Mike move. Rachel loses half a point for not carrying the couch. Joy gets half a point for giving Monica and Chandler $4,000. Chandler gets half a point for loving Monica as she is. Ross gets half a point for helping Phoebe with Mike. Season 9, episode 17, Monica gets half a point for accepting to be Phoebe's buffer, and another half point for accepting to host Ross's funeral. Joy loses half a point for clicking on send. Chandler loses half a point for writing that Ross has sex with dinosaur, and another half a point for writing that Ross is dead, and he gets half a point to host Ross's funeral. Ross loses half a point for telling everyone that Chandler is gay, and another half a point for wanting to have a fake funeral. Season 9, episode 18, Rachel, Joy, and Chandler get a quarter point for telling Phoebe she can have their 50 cents. Monica loses a point for saying money, but she gets half a point for putting $50 for Ross, and another half a point for being the first one to say that Phoebe can have her 50 cents. Phoebe gets half a point for not wanting to fight for money. Joy gets half a point for wishing that Chandler got the job. Season 9, episode 19, Ross loses half a point for eating all the maple candy, even the ones who weren't for him. Season 9, episode 20, Rachel loses half a point for promising not to tell anyone about Joy's party but breaking that promise. Monica loses half a point for forgetting about Chandler. Joy loses half a point for booking boring things to get rid of his friends, and gets a quarter point for wanting the best for Rachel. Season 9, episode 21, Rachel loses half a point for going to the massage place even if Phoebe asks her not to go as a friend. Monica loses a quarter point for throwing Rachel under the bus for no reason. Phoebe loses half a point for telling Rachel not to go to the massage place but she works there. Ross gets half a point for teaching Joy about the museum even though he goes out with his crush. Season 9, episode 22, Rachel loses a quarter point for throwing Phoebe under the bus for having a crush on Joy. Season 9, episode 23, Rachel, Monica, Phoebe, Joy, and Chandler get half a point for attending Ross's conference even though they don't care about paleontology. Phoebe loses a quarter point for saying Monica refers to Chandler as Richard all the time. Joy gets half a point for wanting to talk to Ross before anything happens with Rachel. Chandler loses half a point because he didn't stop making jokes about Monica's hair, and gets half a point for playing ping pong for Monica. Ross gets a quarter point for getting everyone passes to the conference even if they don't care. It's a nice gesture, but I only put a quarter point because if Ross knew his friends he would have known they weren't interested. And he loses half a point because he doesn't care. The same deal about Joy. After all, he kissed Charlie. Season 10, episode 1, Joy loses half a point for still making out with Rachel. Ross gets half a point for wanting to talk to Joy. Season 10, episode 2, Rachel gets half a point for not wanting Charlie to get a bad image of Ross. Joy gets half a point for staying for Ross, and another half a point for being willing to break up with Rachel if Ross isn't okay. Ross gets a quarter point for accepting Joy and Rachel. Season 10, episode 3, Phoebe loses half a point for trying to cut Monica out of her life. Ross loses half a point for not being nice to Glenda. Season 10, episode 4, Rachel and Ross lose half a point for making Monica and Chandler stay and making a late birthday. Season 10, episode 5, Rachel gets half a point for welcoming Amy. Phoebe loses a quarter point for thinking that Monica proposing to Chandler was desperate. Joy gets a quarter point for accepting Amy even if he wasn't happy. Chandler gets a quarter point for defending Monica when Amy said that she wasn't a cool aunt. Season 10, episode 6, Rachel loses a quarter point for not helping Monica not having Gladys, and she gets a quarter point because she welcomed Gladys. Monica gets a quarter point for getting Glynis. Chandler loses a quarter point for lying to Joy when watching the tape. Season 10, episode 7, Phoebe gets a quarter point because she was ready to give her wedding money to charity. Season 10, episode 8, Rachel, Phoebe, Joy, and Ross lose half a point for pressuring Monica to cook Thanksgiving and didn't show up on time. Monica gets half a point for letting Rachel borrow her stuff. Rachel and Ross lose a quarter point for giving Monica's tools to someone else. Joy loses half a point for losing Monica's tools. Rachel, Phoebe, and Ross lose a quarter point for stuffing things down Joy's pants. Season 10, episode 9, Rachel gets a quarter point for taking Phoebe and Ross shopping. Monica loses half a point for wanting to lie to Erica. Joy loses half a point for eating Sarah's dessert. Chandler gets half a point for telling Erica the truth and another half a point for his speech to Erica. Season 10, episode 10, Rachel, Joy, Ross, and Phoebe lose half a point for thinking that Chandler cheated, but they get half a point for telling Monica immediately. Season 10 episode 11, Chandler and Ross lose a quarter point for breaking their pact. Season 10 episode 12, Monica loses half a point for being annoying at Phoebe's rehearsal dinner. Joey gets half a point for really caring about being Phoebe's dad. Season 10 episode 13, Phoebe gets half a point for talking to the guy who auditioned Joey. Ross gets half a point for taking care of Rachel when her dad had a heart attack. Season 10 episode 14, Monica and Chandler get half a point for having a Joey room in their home. Joey loses a quarter point for not being supportive of Monica and Chandler and their house. Chandler loses half a point for staring at a woman's breast. Ross loses a quarter point for being mean to Gunther. Season 10 episode 15, Phoebe loses half a point for not giving Monica and Chandler advice, and she gets half a point for not wanting to hurt Joey with Estelle's death. And here I need your help. Do I give Ross points for the whole Paris fiasco? Because him going to Mr. Zellner's was all for him, but at the end he told Rachel to go to Paris, so maybe he deserves like half a point, but still I'm like, I'm not sure. So tell me in the comments if you think Ross should have half a point more. Season 10 episode 16, Phoebe, Joey and Ross lose a quarter point for not helping Monica packing, and Chandler loses half a point for the same reason, but he loses more because he's her husband. Season 10 episode 17-18, Phoebe gets a quarter point for taking Ross to an airport, and another quarter point for inventing something so that Rachel could go off the plane and talk to Ross. Joey gets half a point for giving Monica and Chandler a housewarming gift, and another half a point for making a sign for the baby. And now bonus points. Monica gets 1 bonus point for being the one who always cooks, who invites her friends over, who is always the hostess, and her friends can eat whatever they want out of her fridge, so she gets 1 bonus point. Chandler gets another bonus point for being a great husband to Monica, but also for paying everything for Joey for literally 10 seasons. These are the final scores. Last place, Rachel with 4.25 points. Second place, Ross with 7.5 points. Fourth place, Phoebe with 11.5 points. Third place, on the podium, Chandler with 14.25 points. Second place, Monica with 22.5 points. And first place, the best friend, Joy with 22.75 points. So there you have it. Joy is the best of the friends. Honestly, at the beginning, I thought Monica would arrive at first place because, come on, she's the one always hosting everything and doing everything. I don't know. I just felt like she would be the best friend, but that Joy would be a close second. And then the rest, I was like, yeah, I knew Ross and Rachel would probably be last, but I thought Ross would be last and then Rachel. And then we would have Phoebe and Chandler. I didn't know how, but I think I would have said Monica, then Joey, then Chandler, then Phoebe, then Rachel, and then Ross. But I was proven wrong. So, thank you guys so much for watching. See you next time. Bye!